Hi, I'm Jayne from Poppy Patchwork and welcome to my quilt block series. In each of these videos I'm going to show you how to make a different block and they're all going to measure 12 inches. I hope you like this video. If you do, click the like button and please let me know in the comment section below what other videos you'd like me to make. Let's get quilting. Today I'm going to show you how to make a quilt block called 4 crowns. This will make a 12-inch block with an unfinished size of 12.5 inches. And if you'd like to know how to use this block in a quilt, please watch to the end of this video where I've got some illustrations to show you how to use it. You will need 4 2.5-inch squares in background fabric. 2 4.5-inch squares for the economy square unit. 4 3x5-inch rectangles for the flying geese. 4 3.5-inch squares for half square triangles. In fabrics A, B, C and D, you will need 1 5.5-inch square for the economy square, 2 3-inch squares for the flying geese, 1 3.5-inch square for the half square triangles. And in fabric E you will need 1 4.5-inch square for the economy square unit. Making the economy square unit. Cut the 4.5-inch square in half across the diagonal, as shown here. Fold in half and cut a small notch. As shown here. Repeat with all the triangles. Using the 4.5-inch square in fabric E. Fold in half and mark a notch on all sides. As shown here. Match the notches on the square and the triangles as shown. Pin and sew a 1/4 inch seam. Press towards the triangles and trim the sides. As shown here. Match the notches on the square and triangles as shown here. Pin and sew with a 1/4 inch seam. Press towards the triangles. Now we need to trim the unit. Line the 1/4 inch line on the ruler with the point on the unit. Trim and then repeat on all sides. Use the 5.5 inch squares in fabrics A, B, C and D. Cut all the squares in half diagonally. You'll only need one of each of the triangles per fabric. Cut a notch on all the triangles. Place the triangles on opposite sides of the unit. The notches match with the point on the triangle. Pin and sew with a 1/4 inch seam. Press seams towards the triangles, then trim the sides. Repeat on the other sides. Trim as before. Making the flying geese one at a time method. Use the 4 3 by 5 inch squares in background fabric and the 8 3 inch squares in fabrics A, B, C and D. Draw a diagonal line on the wrong side of the small squares. As shown here. Place the rectangles and squares as per your layout. Place the squares in the corner of the rectangles with the drawn line as shown. Sew on top of the drawn line, then cut a 1/4 inch away from the drawn line. As shown here. Repeat with all 4 rectangles. Press seams towards the triangle and place next to the economy square. Pin the squares in the other corner of the rectangle. With the drawn line as shown. Sew on top of the drawn line, then cut a 1/4 inch away from the line as shown. Repeat to make 4 flying geese. Trimming the flying geese with a speciality ruler. I use the Ultimate Flying Geese tool by Creative Grids. If you do not have one of these rulers, then please click on the link above and it will take you to my video on how to trim your flying geese with the standard quilting ruler. Trim your flying geese to 2.5 by 4.5 inches. Place your unit under the ruler, lining up to D, which is 2 by 4 inches. Trim along the right and top sides. Turn the ruler and the unit round and line up to D, 2 by 4 inches. Trim along the right and top sides. Making the half square triangles using the drawn line method. Use the 3.5 inch squares in all the fabrics. On the wrong side of all the background fabrics, draw a diagonal line. As shown here. Pin the background squares together with fabrics A, B, C and D, right sides together. Sew a 1/4 inch seam away from the line on both sides of the line. Cut along the drawn line. As shown here. Trimming the half square triangles with a speciality ruler. I use the Quilt in a Day Triangle Square Up ruler by Eleanor Burns. And if you do not have one of these rulers, you can click on my link above, which will take you to the video on how to trim your half square triangles with a standard quilting ruler. Trim your half square triangles to 2.5 by 2.5 inches. Leave your half square triangle unit folded and place under the ruler. Lay the 2.5 inch line on the stitched line. Cut along both sides of the ruler. As shown here. Press to the darker fabric and trim the dog ears. Block layout. Press your units and lay in the block layout. Pin the half square triangles to the sides of the flying geese. Sew with a 1/4 inch seam, press and return to the block layout. Pin as shown, matching seams and points. And sew with a 1/4 inch seam, matching the seams and the points. If you want to get perfect points on your quilt blocks, then click on the link above to take you to my video on how to do this. Pin the top and bottom rows, matching the seams and points. Sew with a 1/4 inch seam, matching all those seams and points. Press the seams open. Congratulations, you have made the 4 crowns block. When I've made the video for the 4 crowns block in just one colour, please click the link above. This will be more economical with fabric and use a different method of making the flying geese. Here are some quilt options. This is an illustration of the quilt repeating the same block. There is no sashing or borders, but the use of the white background fabric in the block allows the design and fabrics to stand out. This is an illustration of the quilt repeating the same block placed on point. There is no sashing or borders, but you would need to add blocks in background fabric in between the blocks shown here with the stars, and use setting triangles around the edges, again shown here with the stars. This is an illustration of the quilt repeating the same block but with sashing, cornerstones and borders. And finally, this is an illustration of a sampler quilt using some of the blocks from this quilt block series. The sashing in this quilt is in the white background fabric. The cornerstones and border is in a darker fabric to pop and frame the quilt. Want to learn more? Watch another one of my videos from the quilt block series. Click above to go to my playlist. I hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe to my channel. More of these videos will be posted, so please tune in. Thank you for watching and bye for now.